It all began in the early 1990s. Skateboarding shoe companies such as the DC Shoes, ES brand, 1’s, America, Osiris all started to make a buzzy noise in the shoe industry, to where the big corporations such as Nike was interested in starting to tap in the skate industry. So in 1996, Nike released 3 shoe models, named Showed, Snack, and Shrimp. With all 3 shoes failing in sales, the Nike team decided to release 2 TV ads trying to tap in the skate industry. But for Nike, it only seemed like a downward slope for them.
Excuse me! Oh, no! Hold your horses there, McEnroe! You see the sign? Do you see the sign?
What sign?
I've seen you guys playing tennis here before.
Look, we're not from around here.
I'm just trying to do my job. Understand that? I'm trying to help you out.
Run, Ashley, run! Hey!
Hey! Off the fence! Couple of monkeys up there. Game over. The night's done.
With all of their shoe ads failing, they decided to step back from the skate scene for a few years. But then in 2001, Nike hired Sandy Bodecker as general manager of Nike Skateboarding. With Sandy's acknowledgement of big-name pro skaters from the 80s were all wearing Nike Jordan 1s, which he could capitalize on that opportunity. A few years after releasing shoes for Nike SB, Sandy Bodecker got the permission to set up a meeting with pro skateboarder Paul Rodriguez in 2003, who was 20 years old at the moment. But Paul barely turned pro at the age of only 17 for girl skateboards in 2002, which he also won Trans World Rookie of the Year when he turned pro.
His whole deal is natural, like it's hard for him to fall. He's just, manufacturing tricks out like a conveyor belt, because it comes way too easy for him. He's got something going on that's pretty good, that's for sure.
In the same year, young P-Rod was able to land big deals, including Big Brother Magazine, ES Footwear, and City Star, which is rumored that City Stars gave Paul Rodriguez a connection to girl skateboards, which he was able to land his first ever pro model skateboard. Fast forward 2 years ahead, in 2004, Paul Rodriguez flew with his manager from California to the headquarters of Nike in Seattle, which Paul said in an interview that he was amazed from the scenery of Nike's campus. Once Paul arrived at Sandy Bodecker's office, Sandy explains how Nike would want P-Rod as part of their skate team as a sponsor, but Paul's manager still had to get the negotiation part of the deal done. So Paul Rodriguez and his manager flew back to California, and Paul had explained to his manager that he was very well interested on taking the deal, but only if he was able to get his own signature pro Nike shoes. After a few days of negotiation, P-Rod's manager came back to tell him that Nike doesn't have any plans on doing any signature skate shoes for skateboarders. Then Paul told his manager that he simply can't do the deal, which he explains he wouldn't feel complete as a pro skater with only having a pro signature board and not having a pro signature shoe to go with the deck. Even before Nike hit him up, Paul Rodriguez was already skating shoe samples with his signature name. A week or so later, after negotiations, Paul's manager came back to tell him that Nike was able to give him his first ever pro signature shoe model, which a year later, in 2005, Nike finally releases white leather, black swoosh, the original Paul Rodriguez 1, Zoom Air Nike SB. At only 19 years old, young Paul Rodriguez claims to have worked alongside Michael Hernandez, who was the global design director for Nike SB at the moment. While Michael was picking up Paul Rodriguez's brain to see what he's into, Paul had one request to add to the shoe. His small request for his shoes to have Air Jordan bubbles, only because he remembers when he was 8 years old and all his friends were wearing Jordans with bubbles on them, because it would add a few inches to their height. But during this year, Nike and Jordan were not releasing shoes in Paul's size with air bubbles on them. So when Paul had the chance to design his first ever shoe with Nike, he made sure to add this small feature onto each P-Rod runs, just to make up for the times he couldn't have air bubbles on his Nike shoes. A feature designed by Michael Hernandez would have to be the bottom of the shoe. It has small dashes right in the middle to mainly protect skaters from landing primo, which Paul said this feature will help a lot. While designing the Nike SB shoe together, Michael came up with the logo for Paul, which he still uses to this day, that he calls the PR logo. With this logo that has been in many P-Rod posters and ad campaigns, Not only was this shoe changing Paul Rodriguez's life, but it was also opening future doors for pro skaters yet to come. In the same year, Nike released more than 5 other Nike SB shoes, including the J-Rods, which were to be the first ever shoe with the real Jumpman logo without the shoe being a Jordan. The original Nike Paul Rodriguez 1's is the main stepping stool for pro skaters to still also be able to design and work with other brands outside of the skateboarding industry, to show that there is no limit to expressing yourself while building your legacy.